Before there was Egypt, there was Kemet, the Black Land. Before pyramids, before Pharaohs, there was the river. And along the river, men watched the rise and fall of the sun, the birth and death of stars, the pattern of flood and retreat, of seed and harvest, of flesh and bone, of spirit and dream. The birth of the temple. At first, temples were humble, mud brick, reeds, rough stones, shrines for gods who walked among men, for ancestors who lingered in the wind. But as memory deepened, as myths were told and retold, as kings rose to power, something shifted. The temple grew. The Egyptians were not building shelters for gods. They were building mirrors of the cosmos. The temple was not just a place, it was a pattern. Every measurement, every alignment, every angle carried meaning. The length of the halls mirrored the sun's journey. The height of the columns echoed the lotus stalks of creation. The dark inner sanctum aligned with the duat, the realm of the dead and rebirth. Above, the roof curved like Nut, goddess of the stars, her body arching to hold the night sky. The hidden doctrine. To the commoner, the temple was a place to pray. To the priest, it was a place to serve. But to the initiate, it was a text, a living book, a manual for awakening, a guide to die before dying. The ritual landscape. Every step inward was a step inward, past the pylons, the outer gates, past the courtyard, the place of offering, into the hypostyle hall, the forest of creation, into the inner sanctum, the womb of darkness. Here, he would meet not a god, he would meet himself. Purification and preparation. The body was the first temple, the mind the second, but the soul, the third, the hidden one, required preparation. Fast, cleanse, chant, remember, forget, break, empty, the symbolic tools, the crook, shepherd of the self, the flail, mastery over impulses, the ankh, the key of life, the djed, the spine, stability, the awakened pillar, the scarab, the heart, the traveler, the self transformed. These were not ornaments, they were doorways. The inner fire Osiris was not just a god, he was a map. Die, be torn, be judged, be gathered, be raised. Architectural mystery. Modern minds search for science, but the mystery schools spoke in symbols. They spoke of resonance and the way stone hums when touched by voice. They spoke of light, the way sunbeams fall through a temple at solstice. They spoke of stars, the way the soul follows the Milky Way, the Nile of heaven toward home. The legacy, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the temple, so the soul. The builder's oath, the architect built with stone, the mason with breath, the initiate with soul. In the mystery schools it was said, the greatest truths are hidden in plain sight. The builders knew. They carved chambers that channeled sound. They aligned temples to stars unseen. They measured by ratios that echoed in the bones of those who walked their halls. The temple was not just an object. It was an instrument. When walked correctly, it played the music of awakening. Scene, the labyrinth within. For the uninitiated, the temple was confusing. Twists, turns, dead ends, sudden openings, shifts from darkness to blinding light. But for the initiate, every turn marked a stage. Separation, confusion, illumination, union. Each chamber was a veil, each threshold, a death, each step, a rebirth, the inner chamber. The final chamber was not about answers, it was about unmasking. Before Osiris, the initiate stood naked, not of clothes, but of self-image. The weight of the heart was measured, not against sin, but against truth. What illusions remained? What attachments clung? What fears still spoke? Only when the heart was lighter than the feather could the journey continue. The symbols come alive. The initiate was taught. The scarab is you, the eye is you, the lotus is you, the pillar is you. These were not mere gods. They were blueprints, models, reflections. When you understood the symbol, not with mind, but with being, you unlocked the door it guarded. The priest teaching, do you think you are a body? Do you think you are a name? Do you think you are a thought? He points to the temple wall. This is stone, but it sings. He points to his chest. This is flesh, but it dreams. He points to the sky. That is void, but it remembers. The mystery schools were not about belief. They were about experience, about shifting the axis of identity. Sacred sound. Sound was key, not just melody, but frequency. Words were shaped not for meaning, but for movement. The tongue shaped the air shaped the space shaped the mind, and the mind opened gates. Astronomical alignments. The ancients tracked the sky. They knew the stars were not just bodies of fire, but bodies of memory. The Milky Way was the celestial Nile, Orion, the seat of Osiris, Sirius, the herald of resurrection. The temples stood not only on earth, but in heaven. When you walked their halls, you walked the path of stars. The initiate's heartbeat, you are more than breath. You are more than thought. Remember. The hidden chamber beneath legends speak of hidden libraries, secret rooms beneath the earth, writings never meant for the masses. Some say they held the Book of Thoth, a text of all wisdom. Others say they held only mirrors. For the final test was not to find knowledge, it was to face reflection. The temple was never just a temple. It was a body, a mirror, a machine. It was the story of the soul, and in its heart, it whispered the oldest truth, that what you seek, you have always been. The soul's descent and ascent, the cosmic descent. The ancients saw the soul's journey written in the sky. Before it entered the world, the bar danced among the stars, drinking in memory, breathing the music of the spheres. But the soul craved experience, it longed to taste, to touch, to fall, entering the womb. Birth was not mere biology, it was crossing a threshold, to pass from the eternal into time, to pass from knowing into forgetting. Veiled are the eyes that open in flesh, the priests whispered, the shattering. To descend was to shatter. Sacred teachings. You are not here to become good, he says. You are here to become whole. Integration, reconciliation, to reclaim the scattered pieces, to remember the self before the world, the map of the underworld. The Duat was the realm between, not hell, not punishment, but passage. Every fear took shape here, every attachment, every regret. The initiate learned to walk through, not to conquer, but to see through. Encountering the guardians. The jackal was not an enemy, he was a guide, a walker between worlds, a reminder, I will take what is false, I will weigh what is real, the weighing of the heart, deeper meaning. The priests taught, it was not sin that weighed you down, it was what you refused to release. Pride, grief, jealousy, fear. When the heart is light, it rises. When it clings, it sinks. Ascent through the veils. The ascent was a climb through the subtle bodies, from flesh to energy, from desire to will, from thought to wisdom, from separation to unity, the stars as memory. The ancients walked under the stars knowing, as above, so below. The stars were the soul's map. They marked the path home. Mastery of the two worlds. The goal was not to escape the world, it was to walk between, to master the visible and the invisible, to live as soul clothed in body, to act as eternity moving through time. Legacy of the initiates. The mystery schools did not promise power. They promised presence, not escape from death, but intimacy with life. Their lineage continues not through blood but through awakening. Descent, ascent, shadow, light, death, life. The soul journeys not to become something else, but to remember what it has always been. And in that remembering, it shines. Secrets of the mystery schools. Not all who entered the temples left with the same knowledge. There were the outer mysteries and the inner ones. The outer mysteries taught the people how to live in harmony. The inner mysteries taught the initiate how to transcend. At the first level were the myths, the stories of gods, of death and rebirth, of sun and moon. At the second, the rituals, movements, chants, rites of passage. At the third, the inner knowing, beyond words, beyond form, beyond self. The mystery schools were protected, not from invasion, but from corruption. Only those tested in mind, heart and body were brought into the deepest chambers, not because the knowledge was forbidden, but because it was potent. Power without wisdom leads to ruin. The mystery schools knew. A symbol is a key, a word is a vibration, a gesture is a gateway. The ankh was not a charm, it was a map. The eye was not just for seeing, it was for perceiving. Light was the final teacher. It revealed, it dissolved, it unified. In the final rite, the initiate stepped into blinding light, not to be erased, but to be seen. In the mystery schools, the feminine was not secondary, she was central. The high priestess embodied Ma'at, truth, balance, cosmic order. She initiated both men and women. She guarded the hidden chambers. She held the mirror for the soul, the ultimate secret. The body was the temple, the breath, the chant, the heart, the altar, the spine, the dejed, the pillar of awakened life. The initiate was the vessel, the transformation was within. The so-called Book of Thoth was not a manual of spells. It was a guide to becoming, to die before dying, to rise while still in flesh, to become luminous. Sound was sacred. It tuned the body. It aligned the mind. It opened the gates. The chants were not performances. They were engines. Their resonance moved through bone, blood, memory, soul. The temple was not just architecture. It was a machine, a resonator, a map. It connected earth to heaven, body to spirit, time to eternity. The last initiation was always the same. The initiate entered silence. There were no more teachers, no more symbols, no more rites, only the self, only the source, only the remembering. The teachings traveled through hermetic scrolls, through Sufi poetry, through the hands of alchemists. The mystery schools never died. They changed form. They went underground. They waited. The mystery schools did not promise escape. They promised awakening. Their secret was never hidden in stone, but in the soul, in the one who dares to descend and rise. Echoes through time. Hermeticism, alchemy, modern mysticism. The shifting of ages. The mystery schools of Egypt did not end when their walls fell. Their seed scattered across empires, across centuries, across minds. The temples crumbled, but the current flowed on. The hermetic stream Alexandria, where Egyptian wisdom met Greek philosophy, Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, emerged. A fusion, a bridge. His writings spoke of the one mind, the one thing, the art of transmutation, of matter, of soul, the corpus hermeticum. In the corpus hermeticum, we read, "The world is a living being. Man is both mortal and divine. Awakening is remembering." The Hermetists carried Egypt's flame into a new age, alchemy, the spiritual science. Alchemy was never just about gold. It was about the great work, the magnum opus, lead into gold, flesh into light, ignorance into knowing, mortality into eternity, as above, so below. The ancient formula, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. This was the thread, through all. The Sufi mystics in Persia, the Sufis turned inward. Their path was love, annihilation of ego, union with the beloved. Their whirling was a spiral, the same spiral carved into Egyptian stone. Their poetry, an echo of the hymns sung in Karnak. The alchemical body east and west touched in the body. The spine, the Jed pillar, the breath, the wind of Ka, the awakening, the birth of Ak. The alchemists mapped in symbols what the Egyptians had enacted in ritual, the veiled survival. The mystery schools went underground, through Rosicrucians, through Freemasons, through alchemical brotherhoods. They wrapped their wisdom in symbols, not to hoard, but to protect, until the time was right. The modern mystics today, the mystery lives on, in meditation halls, in online communities, in the quiet seekers who feel, beneath the noise, the pulse of something older, something waiting. Science meets mystery. Science approaches the threshold, quantum fields, non-locality, consciousness studies, patterns within patterns. The language shifts, the essence remains, the return to the temple. The temple was never lost. It was waiting, in the body, in the breath, in the turning of stars, in the longing that whispers, there is more. The mystery schools were not a place, they were a path. They were not a time, they were a thread. They live wherever a soul turns inward and remembers. The real treasure, why the mystery still lives, the return. We come to the end as all journeys do, but in the mystery tradition, the end is the beginning, the return. The initiate who returns is not who they were. The eyes see deeper, the breath moves slower, the heart carries more. The treasure that wasn't gold, what was sought. We imagine secret texts, forbidden knowledge, hidden power. But the mystery schools whispered, the treasure is not gold, the treasure is awakening. The awakening of the self. The great work was not escape, it was remembrance. To know the self as part of the cosmos, to feel the heart as a bridge, to walk in the world as soul wrapped in skin, the alchemy of everyday life. The mystery lives wherever someone breathes with attention, moves with intention, loves without condition. The temple is everywhere. The ritual is the moment. The ascent is here. Why the mystery was hidden? Why was it veiled? Not because it was forbidden, because it was too subtle for words, because it could not be owned, because it had to be lived. The soul as the final temple. The mystery schools left behind a message. The temple is your body, the altar is your heart, the flame is your awareness. The God you seek is seeking through you. The invitation, the mystery calls still, not through dogma, not through control, through invitation, through longing, through the quiet pull that says there is more. The mystery in you. You are the temple, you are the initiate, you are the hidden chamber, you are the scroll, you are the light, you are the remembering. Some mysteries are not solved, they are remembered. They live not in stone, but in souls, not in books, but in being. And when you walk in wonder, when you meet the world with eyes of flame, you carry the mystery forward. The circle completes. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you felt the mystery awaken something in you, leave a comment, like, and share this video. And remember, the mystery lives wherever we choose to remember.